Drucie and John Chase, take one.
Why did you decide to live in Riverside?
Well, at the time, I decided to. Now, remember, we're talking about what the late '50s, middle to late '50s. The area also had good schools. We were very particular about that with the children. Uh, and we were interested in that.
Well, how did you come to live in this particular house and find this particular lot?
We actually we bought this particular property. The house was not here; it was a vacant lot, and we liked this particular location because it was on a cul-de-sac, and architecturally, to me, that means you don't go through the area; you go to the area. Do you see? And I like the safety of kids growing up and being able to run out in the street in the cul-de-sac and not have to worry too much about cars zooming through 30 and 40 miles an hour. So we decided to buy the lot and design a home on it and live in it, and that's what we did.
Who designed this house, and what does this house say about the people who reside in it?
Lucy, why don't you answer that? Of course you know who designed it.
Them. When we moved here, we had two children.
I'm sorry, can you mark it?
They do mark.
Okay. If you would pick up from what you were talking about, how that was the control point.
Take two.
All right. We have enjoyed this house, the design of this house. I think it has been very conducive to raising three children. At the time we moved in, we had two sons. One was 6 and one was 4. And of course, it was at one-story level. The house was built around an atrium. As the kids grew older, and the third child was born, our youngest child, Sandra, was born, we added a second level. And at that time, we felt that the boys needed a little space, but yet and still we needed control. So this house was beautifully designed by putting them right upstairs where we could oversee the upstairs. We could have control of the front door. We had control of the stairwell coming in at night. And we invited all of their friends. We always made them very welcome because John and I have sat here in the den most nights. And we were in complete control. So I just think that the house was almost perfectly designed for this particular family. Our children have always been thoroughly active, and they've always had a lot of activities. They were Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Campfire Girls, you name it. And they belonged to troops right in the neighborhood. They had good neighborhood friends. There were other kids right in the block, their same ages. They grew up together, and they were always welcome. So it's kind of been an open house, and we had plenty of space, and, they could enjoy one another. And we've enjoyed the children, and we've watched them grow over the years, the neighbors' children, as well as our own.
Mr. Chase is the designer of this house. What were your concerns in designing this? What did you want this house to say about you and the lifestyle that you had come to enjoy in this neighborhood?
Well, frankly, I wanted it to say really as much as I could for the buck that I had to spend, on it at the time. I frankly, I never have accepted the fact that in the average residence you have a living room, you have a separate dining room, you know, your all rooms are basically separate, that you use the dining room on very special occasions, and that's the only time that you do get an opportunity to use it, but rather throwing all spaces basically that work now into one large space and get an advantage of then the grandeur, you know, of the space, and then and mixing in with it changes in volume, differences in volume in this room that we're in now, which is maybe an 8+ foot ceiling as versus the space directly behind us, which is close to 18 feet in height. I think you get different feelings as you walk from one space to the other. This, I think, does something to a personality, to be very honest with you. I think you feel different in a grand space as this is behind us, as versus the feeling that you might have in this space where you can almost touch the ceiling. The other advantage, of course, in throwing all the spaces in as one huge space and separating it with the placement of furniture, rugs, and this type of thing, was the fact that you got the advantage of space that normally you wouldn't have. If the dining room, for an example, or living room were tucked behind 4 walls that you had to open a door to get into, then you would only use that space when you went into it. Well, I can enjoy that living room right now, even though I'm not in it. Do you see? I think the combination of all of those things influenced me to design it the way we did. I wanted to make a statement, and this is my statement.
Cut.
Mark it. 3 mark.
When you first built here, what was the reaction to whites who were living here, to your moving in?
I didn't, the reaction of the whites, frankly, I think it was good. If we didn't have any problem, if that's what you're saying.
Okay, let me rephrase
yeah.
the question. Can you answer? Can you incorporate my question into your answer? I mean, how did whites react? Were they overly friendly? Were they aloof? What was their reaction?
I feel they were friendly. There weren't that many here, but those that were here, I thought they were friendly. There was a lawyer 2 doors to my left who eventually became a judge. The man and his family were very fair, very cooperative, very friendly.
Okay, cut.
Mark it. 4 mark.
What were some of the factors that contributed to the transition of this neighborhood?
I think some of the factors contributing to the transition of the neighborhood, that is from white to black, was just plain white flight out of the neighborhood. I think as they realized that blacks were coming in, that there were blacks with financial means to come in, that they would get out, while the getting was good. I think it was a matter of their feeling that they didn't want to get trapped in an area, although I don't necessarily support that it would be an entrapment, but I think that's the way they felt. And frankly, I think the transition that took a number of years to accomplish probably will go down in my little history book as being one of the biggest residential real estate fiascos this country has ever seen, where properties were sold over and over again. They were sold, and in some cases resold. They were sold for much inflated prices. And in so many instances, people that bought not only the home, but the problems that home had. And that is now in addition, of course, to the fact that they did get a fairly nice neighborhood. They had an opportunity to get out of maybe some of the cramped style that they had been accustomed to. But I think it was really a residential real estate fiasco that took place in this general area over here.
And who profited from that fiasco that you speak of?
Oh, I think the persons that moved out.
Can you say that again in corporate?
I think the persons that profited from the fiasco were the sellers, the persons that ran, the people that moved out.
What about though the whites who were later left on the block, and did they amass as great a profit as the first couple to sell or not?
I don't think there's any set pattern on that. I think some did, and I think, of course, some didn't.
Okay, cut. 5. Talk a little bit about the realtors in regards to what you were talking about previously.
Okay, insofar as the realtors are concerned in this area, personally, I think in some instances they were the real culprits in this whole matter of mass flight or white flight out of the area. I don't think that you can necessarily make one all-encompassing statement, and I want to say that would fit all situations that happened in this area. But some say that the whites that were in the area that were sold first got more for their homes, and this price receded downward as those that were left on the block. I don't think that, I think that happened in some cases, and I think that theory, that philosophy also helped speed up the flight that took place, to sell quick to get out. But then there was, in some instances, not all the realtor, and in this case, mostly the white realtor, who ended up being a real culprit. He not only took advantage of the white buyer, the black buyer, but he also took advantage of the white seller.
What about the apartments that were put up on this side of the bayou? What was their effect on this community?
Some of their apartments on this side of the bayou were very poorly maintained. Some that were already built when we moved into this area were being very well maintained when we moved in. I have reference to the one right behind us on North McGregor. They had a great caretaker.
T8 and Chase take 6 will be coming up.
Take 6. Tell me a little bit about what the impact of TSU has had on this community.
Well, I think that it afforded persons in the community and also out of the community. It brought some additional culture into the area, into the community. You were able to have an institution of its caliber at your disposal insofar as their facilities were concerned, their libraries were concerned, and that type of thing. And then, of course, you had what I think was a very positive atmosphere of a college community. And it softened it, I think. I think TSU softened the area.
Do you have anything to add?
I think, oh yes, I do. I feel that having TSU in this particular neighborhood has been a tremendous asset. It's been so many things that it has had to offer to, and it's added a lot to the cultural aspect of this particular community.
What do you feel the future of this area may be?
I think this area is live and well. And one thing, I think our access to downtown is very good. We're close to everything. It's very convenient. And I think the improvements that are being made in the neighborhood now is nothing but an asset, nothing but good. It's the best place in the city to live, so far as I'm concerned. It's very easily accessible to everything.
Well, I think that the future for this area is a great one. I think it will develop over the years into possibly one of the best residential living areas in this city. I surely think that the periphery of the area might be invaded by certain commercial and institutional items, such as a psychiatric hospital, hotels, that type of thing. But I think as you, let's take the north-south McGregor area through here, which is just a few blocks away. I think, frankly, that's going to develop into some real good first-class condo, high-rise type construction. I really do. I think this is possibly the one of the best locations in this city for good residential housing, whether it be single family and or whether it be high-rise condo style or apartments. With its proximity to the CBD, to the various educational institutions in the city. My goodness, we're talking about Texas Southern University, but look, you've got Rice almost as convenient to this area as Texas Southern is. You've got the University of Houston, in some instances more convenient to the area than Texas Southern. But you're right in the middle of the educational mecca in this city. You, as I said, near the central business district. You're right in the middle of everything. You're at the center of the circle here. And it's very, very valuable land. I think over the years you're going to see the same white flight that left return. I really believe that.
Is that happening now?
To a degree, I think it is, yes.
Can you incorporate my question?
Oh, yeah, yes, and that the matter of the white flight flying back to the area, yes, it's happening right now. And I think it will continue to happen even more so in the future. And just as you have had the flight out of it, as I said, you're going to have the flight back in it. It's interesting, I think, how areas are subjected to that. Let's look at Allen Parkway Village.
I'm going to cut you off there
right.
because I don't want to get into that.
Mark, second sticks.
How do you, this is a question for both of you, how do you view the re-entrance of whites into this neighborhood?
Josie, why don't you attack that one first?
Oh, I think it's good.
What's good? I mean,
I think it's good to have a mixed neighborhood and have the whites come back to this neighborhood. And I think we as a people should learn to live closer together. So I think it will be good. It will make for a good neighborhood to have several ethnic groups to live in one neighborhood together.
In terms of the question of my feelings of whites moving back into the neighborhood, I think it's a very positive step. I think this should happen. I don't think the neighborhood should remain fully black or fully white, but that it should be available for people to come in if they have the means to come in. And surely that can do nothing but help each other, really. I think as your children grow up and leave this neighborhood and go into other areas of employment and all, they're going right back into the mix again. So why not have it as they're growing up and get this experience and get this involvement? If it's open and available for anybody, regardless of color or whatever the case may be, I think then that is good. I really do.
Earlier today, in talking to your son Anthony, he talked about how this was a very protected neighborhood and that he really didn't understand the concerns of the masses of the ghetto until he moved away. How do you feel about that as parents and in regards to this neighborhood? Is this a very protected neighborhood?
At the point in time, I think when they were growing up, it was an extremely protected neighborhood. I think that is the fault maybe of the parents in making it a protected neighborhood. We transported them to most of the places. They walked to elementary school, but consequently they never, not by purpose or not by design, you know.
I think, frankly,
Sorry, you starting that statement again?
I don't think it was by any.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that protection is here, and we have enjoyed it. I think when Anthony went off to college.
129 now, and Chase Take 8 will be coming up, and I do.
Mark it.
Take 8. Give me a kind of a personal example how you've seen TSU grow.
A good personal example of how I've seen TSU grow relates to the location of my office.